Welcome everybody. So glad to have everyone here. Welcome to our guests. Totally excited about that as we go ahead. Let me just do a quick land acknowledgement. And that is also to note that there's a meeting schedule attached to the land acknowledgement. Are we acknowledging the meeting schedule as well?
No, that means I just probably.
It's an extra one.
Oh, it's because the land acknowledgement is in the meeting schedule. If anybody needed access to it for you.
Perfect. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Rachel. That makes more sense now. Let us acknowledge the land upon which we're meeting. It is the home of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Adirondack peoples, who unfortunately are no longer, as well as the Anishinaabe. It is always prudent for us to recognize that these lands were inhabited long before any of our forefathers managed to get here, and it was inhabited in a good way. As if people understood that living within creation means being part of creation, not the domination of creation. It is always helpful for us to remember that and to understand that a lot of the damage that is happening, that we are living within the environment, is due specifically to that concept of dominating, plundering, and exploiting our environment. So let us try to remember that the land is that which births us. We're composed of the same atoms as the dirt underneath our feet. And even though we are several flights up, that somewhere beneath us is still that wonderful, vibrant earth that we call home. Can I have any declarations of interest? Hearing none. Hearing no conflicts of interest or other interest kind. Can we have someone move the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you. Then seconded. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Karen. Would it be okay if we do quick intros just because we do have some guests?
Absolutely. So the agenda has been passed. If we can, yeah, that would be great to do some introduction. We have some different folks at the table. I'm Karen Orlandi. I represent Tony's Fish Market at the other end of St. Paul Street.
And I'm Stephen Bedford, and I represent some law office on Church Street. Patrick Little's outfit.
I'm Jennifer McKenna. I represent my company, Little Chief & Co.
Joe Bertelli, Bertelli Furniture, King Street, downtown St. Catharines for a number of years.
100 plus.
Just a few.
Come on.
David Cooperman Real Estate. I moved about 3 years ago in the area. I mainly do consulting, processes, the implementation, and
Sorry, I couldn't hear that.
I do mainly some forms of consultation when it comes to processes implementation. Basically making sure that any organization is not dependent on individuals, but systems, so that because people come and go.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks so much. I didn't catch your name. I just have to look for it.
Raphael, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Did you say that out loud or so?
Yeah, Raphael, yeah, but that's, I can spare you the French.
Never.
A name like Orlando, I'm good with it. Thank you so much.
Oh, sorry, it's me next.
I was gonna say.
I just didn't take a note. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel. I'm from the St. Catharines Downtown Association. I work as the executive director there.
Robin McPherson, City Councillor. I'm Alice Deegan. I'm here on behalf of the Niagara Community Benefits Network, which we refer to as NCBN. So I may say that accidentally. That's what I mean.
I'm Kate McCabe. I'm representing Wandering Spirits on James Street.
I'm Pat Dodge. I work with Rachel through the St. Catharines Downtown Association, and I'll be running your audio visual for tonight.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. I wonder if I could have someone move to approve the minutes of January 27th. Thank you, Robin, seconded by Dr. Janet. That's great. All in favor? I forgot to ask who was all in favor of the agenda too, so thanks. Any opposed? Contrary minded? All right, let's move on. Alice, we'll turn it over to you.
Sure, thank you.
Which is great, because I'm bored of me.
I meant to say, actually, I am a business owner myself. I'm a writer and I an independent publisher. So though my business is not located downtown exactly, it's close enough. So, but I'm here on behalf of the Niagara Community Benefits Network to tell you about what we do and what we hope to do, and to ask for your support. So I know that as owners of downtown businesses, you understand the importance of a business being embedded in the community and responsive to the community. And our advocacy at the Niagara Community Benefits Network focuses on bringing those values to large contracts and big corporations doing business in the region. That's the hope. So we focus on two areas specifically: community benefit agreements and social procurement policies, and they're related in ways that will become clear. But I'll address community benefit agreements first, because that's kind of in our name, Community Benefit Network. So a community benefit agreement is when a large development is coming to the region, we want to be prepared to ask the developers or the government or both for an agreement that would, a CBA, Community Benefit Agreement, which would be a commitment to the community where the developers want to build. A commitment that they'll perhaps help to pay for services that the community needs, that they'll invest in the community by with local hiring and with supporting local businesses. So we have, I'm gonna just pass around handouts at this point. So the first one there is part of our membership package. And then this is our statement of goals and purposes that goes with it. So it explains a little bit about us and about the concept of the concepts that we are focus on. And then the third one is focuses on explaining the community benefit agreement concept by dividing it into these 7 pillars. So there's a little bit of overlap, but I wanted to look at the colorful one with the pictures, because that one really breaks down what is possible with a community benefit agreement specifically. So you can see that it's the concept falls into a number of different categories. I might just wait until things come back to me so that I can remember what order I've got them in. Yeah.
Excellent.
There should be enough for everybody because not everybody's here. Thank you. So at the bottom there, I kind of outlined the process. Basically, you know, when we find out that a large development project is coming, then there has to be some organization within the community. The community approaches the developer and or the government if it's a infrastructure project. Some negotiations take place. Hopefully we get to the point where we can reach an agreement, and then we move to implementation. And I should emphasize that for us in Niagara, this is all aspirational at this point. We would like to be able to do this. We're in the process of trying to approach the Ontario government, which obviously is not going anywhere at the moment because of the election, but over the winning of the Skyway, which is a large development project that's coming. Or not coming, or coming, or you know, as it's on and off. But it's one that is going to affect St. Catharines and our communities. So that is one that we've kind of had our eye on as an organization. But we're also a small organization at this point, and so what we need in order to have the voice. Talk to developers and to talk to government is a broad base of support from from organizations, businesses and individuals in the region. So I've got these, the 7 pillars here that I was alluding to. These are different things that community benefit agreements have achieved in other places. And of perhaps a particular interest to downtown businesses would be this page with social procurement and local business support. So these are some examples. Vancouver has a CDA policy that requires developers to source a proportion of their material goods and services from social impact or diverse or equity seeking owned businesses. So that's an example of a strong social procurement element in community benefit policies. Local business support is a little bit more straightforward. And we have some good examples in Ontario from the Gordie Howe International Bridge in Windsor, and in Toronto, the Casino Woodbine project. Both of those had strong community benefit agreements associated with them that really benefited local businesses and continue to benefit local businesses. Does anyone have questions at this point? I've kind of gone all over the place. Yes.
Do you know when Vancouver implemented the policy?
Offhand, I don't.
Do you find that these policies, it's just that these projects are enormous. And not only are they very large, they're kind of paramount to the area. So, and those areas are already significantly developed. Whereas, you know, just say downtown St. Catharines for our little BIA, we're, you know, we have a lot of land that's permitted to become a building, but of course it has to become a building, right? Do you find that it's obviously altruistically you'd want these things implemented at the beginning before any growth is happening? But do you find that implementing these policies work better when a city's already developed, like these areas, or when they're like kind of like we are, where we have a lot of growth left to do?
That's an interesting question.
I mean, we're of course trying to really encourage developers to come and develop with the least amount of, I don't want to say red tape because this doesn't sound like red tape, but the least amount of hurdles as possible.
Yeah.
Whereas of course, if you're in downtown Vancouver, you can kind of call the shots because, you know, you're already hopping. Whereas we're getting, you know, moving to get there.
Right. I see what you're saying. I think this is maybe not something that you would think about in relation to developing properties in downtown St. Catharines. I think this is more because in a way that's this is adding more friction. Like, let's be frank, right? This is an effort to make sure that the community benefits from a very large project that's going to come regardless, right? So something like the twinning of the Skyway, that's something that is a perceived need for the province, right? It's not really a need for St. Catharines, but it's going to happen in St. Catharines. The construction is going to happen in this city.
And so sorry. So I guess I'm misunderstanding. So essentially what you're asking for with respect to our BIA is just camaraderie with respect to helping all the other BIAs come together, not necessarily doing work like in our downtown.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is where actually, Pat, if I could get that, that example of the Hamilton, Community Benefits Network. So Hamilton has a strong community benefits network that is serving as a model for what we're trying to build for the rest of, for the Niagara region. And this is their page showcasing their membership. So yeah, if you could just scroll down and just show, they have membership from all different kinds of organizations, unions, and like the YWCA, the United Way, as well as business associations, neighborhood associations. This is their broad base of support that they have, so that when they want to go to, in their case, it's Metrolinx that they have, they're mostly wanting to talk to, because they're trying to get a CBA for the LRT project there. So this is what we're trying to build in for Niagara, if that makes sense, that makes sense of how.
That's super important, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
how you would fit into
Yeah.
this. Yeah, so it's not that we would be requiring anything of you in terms of development in downtown.
Question, how binding and what are the ramifications of a legally binding agreement?
Well, it requires, yeah, I mean, ideally, it would require the developer to spend money on these projects and, or to, for instance, use, like, give back surplus land that they, that was expropriated for development. So that's the part that's binding on the developer. There is an element that's binding on the community organization that negotiates it. But that's mostly that they won't oppose the development, right? So it's mostly an agreement that, you know, if you do these things for us, we won't try to hold up the development.
You're dealing mostly with real estate development. Whether it's a bridge, apartment building, plaza, or let's say we get something downtown. So you're pertaining mostly to real estate ventures.
Yeah,
Construction.
I think would be, yeah, less real estate and more do with the
Well, and if
construction.
land's expropriated, like, that's it.
The development piece.
Yeah.
we're talking about.
So if, okay, you said something about expropriation. An individual downtown has their property expropriated.
Mhm.
Who do you act for?
But we just clarified it's not the downtown,
So
no development
I'm just
downtown.
gonna draw this back, just a reminder that questions come through the chair rather than crosstalk. Sorry to get us back, but no, but it's helpful. I don't mind to go directly to you, but if we start getting into conversations that we can kind of derail things. So, yeah, can you just clarify? Like, so when you enter, and I think this may be what you're looking for, David, and I may be wrong, so happens all the time. If you guys enter in as a representative that we have signed on with, you are entering into a CBA with, for example, the people who are gonna build the Skyway. Then we all agree that you are going to enter into the agreement with that, but not into everything else,
Correct.
right? It's on a case by case basis. Side of it. Does that help, David?
Yeah, so it's not an overall
No, it's
binding
not a blanket.
agreement with the
It's
organization.
a one by
No,
one.
no, no.
It's a one-off sort of.
Case by case basis with a large development that's coming of whatever that kind of construction project.
Or whatever size development is
Right.
deemed to be.
Yeah.
And that's why this expropriation, I'm a little confused with.
It's just an example of it.
When you get involved with it, I've got a property and it's about to be expropriated. And it's downtown. Do I come to you?
No, that's not what we, we're
But
not,
that's
we're not
also a personal question as opposed to the downtown business association.
Well, I'm
question.
talking downtown, being a downtown business person, if one of our properties is expropriated, do they enter
No.
as part of their agreement
No, we wouldn't have an agreement with the downtown business association. That's not what we're talking about. The agreement would be between a developer and NCBN. And it would be negotiated down the road. It's not, and we don't have any kind of power to do anything with, when it comes to land being expropriated. That's not our mandate at all.
You've answered the question.
Jen, you got it?
So, community benefits, Alice, when I read this, it immediately twigged, oh, planning act. Community benefits agreement, and I think, uh-oh. So I wondered, in your conversations, have you had confusion arise, like in my mind? The relationship between what you're talking about and community benefits in the planning act?
Absolutely. If we could call it something different, I would be all over that. Like if I had invented the terminology for this, it would not be called any of this. It's, yeah.
The other thing, using the word development, you get developers over here down the end of the table and myself, kind of, oh, my antenna go up.
Right.
And these projects that you're talking about, they're really government infrastructure programs. They're
For the
not,
most part.
and I wouldn't call the province of Ontario or the federal government a developer.
No.
I would have called them something else. So
No,
it's quite confusing,
Mhm.
You know, in terms of the approach that you're, or the kinds of things you're
Mhm,
trying to get
mhm.
involved with. It's not apartment building at the end of the street. Yeah, these are huge infrastructure
Mhm,
projects, or, and I guess in the case of the racetrack, that's
Yeah.
that is a private
Yeah.
project, but it is
General.
beyond the size of an apartment building. So how would you anticipate moving forward to differentiate what you're talking about to kind of the planning act stuff, which is where most people are focused in terms of
Mhm,
community
mhm.
benefits? How are you going to do that?
Well, that's tricky because I think that the reason why the Planning Act stuff is called that is that language is taken from this movement, right? This is a fairly old movement from the States. It's been around for 20+ years. And I think that governments have adopted that language as a kind of a gesture toward doing this stuff, right? But in effect, they're doing something slightly different, and so it muddies the waters. I mean, if we want to be part of the movement, we need to use the language.
Start a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate that, I appreciate the point, and I'm glad you raised that because it is a difficulty that we have when we're addressing this kind of outreach. Sorry, there was a second part of your question.
No, I
Was-
think
no.
it was just the relationship of the agreement with planning act and how you separate that. And even your conversation, you talk about the Skyway Bridge,
Mhm,
you know, I just think it's a huge infrastructure project.
mhm.
And I wouldn't call it, a development in the same sense. as-
Sure. Yeah,
And idea, it's a great idea to have benefits beyond what these organizations are doing, creating an ongoing relationship. I think great idea of how to kind of move that forward is.
yeah.
Okay, but yeah, let's go to Katie.
Can I just say one more thing that I remembered I had meant to say? I think that's another way in which we're a little bit hampered, especially in Canada, by the development of the movement, that it did start more with private development, so that the Staples Center, which was the really kind of like the first, that's on the back. page up there. It was the first example of this. There've been several other prominent examples in the states of, port complexes
Yeah.
that were, very, like, had CBAs associated with them. But here, it's true, like, mostly what we're dealing with is government projects, where there is a developer involved, but it's not the same process. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna take a few more
Mhm.
questions and then we're
Sure,
gonna move
yeah.
into a motion. Excellent.
So at this point,
Mhm.
you're kind of at this point introducing the organization to us, and there's no real ask right now. It's just so we're familiar with what.
So I can clarify, I think there is an ask on the table.
Okay.
And it will be a motion to say, yes, we would like to join with you and be, and if I can clarify and just, if I'm just paraphrasing this in a good way, it might make it a little simpler. So this is an opportunity, this is gonna happen with or without us, I think. But we have the opportunity to put the DBA on there and to be able to lobby to say that in any one of these, we want X amount, percent spent in local businesses, spent in local acquisitions, spent in local blah, blah, blah. So this gives us, if we wish to sign on, it will give us that option to lobby to make sure we are part of one of these.
Yeah,
Is
so,
that fair?
and then so we need to clarify further on that, but we would, when it comes to individual projects that are being
Mhm.
tackled, we would be able to kind of.
Have a say?
Be involved or not,
specifically-
yes,
Yeah, okay,
yes,
great.
absolutely.
And also, is there a, like, if we were to sign on to this, is there any membership fee
No.
or, okay,
Not at this point.
great.
Excellent. Jen, you were next.
Yeah, just a question with respect to these past projects and potentially this one coming. Does the CBA or whatever go on the tender, or is this kind of like off to the side?
It can differ,
Okay.
depending on what stage of the process the community gets involved.
Just because I'm thinking that
Yeah.
the tenders have probably already gone out for the
Yeah.
twinning of the Skyway.
Yeah.
That they're already making those raw material and employment decisions currently.
Yeah, I mean, that's a concern. So, you know, the ideal is to get involved as early as
As
possible.
quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna, Joe, did you have a question?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, Robin, I thought, yes, I saw your hand up. I'm back to you, Kate.
Then separate question, so say there was like a development project downtown, I mean, one of the,
The city square, the city.
yeah,
Perfect. example.
but in like even more specific to that, the apartment building that's going up next to the library. They talked about having a retail floor on the bottom,
Mhm.
and they like floated wanting to bring like Starbucks in or Kelsey's or whatever.
Mhm.
Is that something we could engage you guys on to say, you know what, our downtown really wants a grocer or something like that, and can we come to you with things that we might need?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think what we would be able to do at that point would be, depend.
Right, totally,
But
absolutely.
that is
But an
definitely something
example.
we would be interested in.
Okay.
And I think the interesting piece is by throwing our support behind it, if that's something we choose to do, then we have a say in it.
Yeah,
Then we have the
that's my
opportunity
question,
to
yeah.
engage.
Yeah,
All right. Are we ready to put a motion on the floor? Who would like to put that motion on the floor? Jen, and how would you like to word that? I think you can say something to the effect, Rachel probably has something ready.
Yeah, like, do we want to do this?
I thought when it says, to support the Niagara Community Benefit Network and to be listed as a member on the website. Would that be sufficient, Alice?
Yes. Do we have a seconder for the motion? Thank you, Joe. Awesome. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, thank you, David. Do you want to speak to that opposition?
I'm a little confused as to what their authority is. I'm a little confused when a developer comes in, is this another organization that they're gonna have to deal with? There seems to be more input provided by the municipality in terms of neighborhood input, in terms of business input that's there. I don't know, I just see this as redundant to all of the processes and people and organizations that are involved right now.
Jen, actually, we don't have an opportunity now to actually speak to that, but
sorry.
but what we like to do is to record David's comments as part of the question and answer.
I'm-
Maybe we can address that offline.
Yeah, that's why
If we can make a note of those and then we can get back to you later.
Yeah, so I'm opposed to it because I don't know enough. And being in the development business, we have enough to deal with.
I hear ya.
And have another organization with input or demands or whatever. I think it's too much already, so I wish you well, but the development business today is so onerous. What we had to do 10 years ago compared to now is quadrupled. I can't see another organization with good intentions, don't get me wrong, good intentions, jumping into the pot, and now we got another organization to deal with. I just can't see it.
Thank you, and we'll record that. Thank you so much. All right, then, motion is passed. In my repetitiveness. All right, can we move on to the governance update?
You want me to shut this off?
That's okay, no, we're good now. I hope everybody had a chance to look at the Rainbow Registry. And Alice, you are free to go should you wish, or you can hang out here and then you can chit chat later.
I would love
It
to
would be
stay.
it would be wonderful to have you on site, and maybe
Sure.
you guys can have that conversation afterward. Okay, so I hope everybody had a chance to. Hey Milan, welcome. So glad you're here. I hope everybody had a chance to read the memo on the Rainbow Registered Policy and Application. And also there was another memo, there was a letter sent as well that was an endorsement letter from PFLAG, which is Parents and Friends of Lesbian and Gays, if you don't know that organization. Do we have any further questions from this? Because I think everything is pretty darn clear, I think, in here about the proposal that's coming from the governance committee and why we think it might be a good, profitable, and good intentioned move.
Yeah, I'll move the motion to support.
Thank you very much. Do we
I
have a
second
second?
it.
Oh, I've got so many seconders, all the seconders. Let's open discussion if anybody has any questions. I'll see if I can help. There are no questions. Let's call the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried.
Sorry, just can I get clarification on
With
the
Milan?
decision of voting or not?
Yeah, we can't see him. He doesn't have access. And it doesn't count.
Yeah, I think. He would be able to abstain.
He just
An
can't.
abstention is no.
And then we're still good.
Yes, and I'm sorry, Joe, you're in favor?
I guess I should vote in favor. I was neutral. That's, yeah.
No worries. Thank you so much. All right, let's move on to the executive committee update. And Rachel is gonna share the final art chosen by the board.
I'm not.
Or not.
Sorry, I did read.
Do you have a nosebleed? Do you need to leave?
Yes, I'm okay. This one of those things.
I asked the same.
No,
You
I.
do not need to shed your blood. That is not a requirement.
It's only required here in politics.
That's right.
Just, I don't, unfortunately. Jennifer for culture was away, and then I was away, so we just weren't able to connect.
So we will adjourn this to our next.
She's coming to our March meeting and is very excited. She'll be able to
Good for her.
do a bit more wholesome update.
That's even better. All right, moving right along, event committee update.
Yes, I don't have too much here either. Just one exciting piece to note is that we do have an intern that started with us who is fully funded through the Become a Woman program.
Woo!
So she will be
Like free
working.
interns.
I do too. So she'll be working full-time for about 4 weeks. So pretty short but intense, and we love free help.
And what are their primary?
Helping obtain sponsorships and doing some research and recruitment and stuff.
Let's try not to make you talk anymore. We'll move over to marketing. Unless anybody had any questions they had for Rachel on events. We're in a slow time of the year because it is awful outside. People slip, fall all the
It's
time.
weird.
Move over to that.
Yeah, so
And Kate.
Kat has some materials from Giant Shoe on the TPN funding that we received. To recap, it's tourism campaign that we're doing, that we've engaged Giant Shoe on James Street to help us with the materials. And you have a brochure and a video ready?
Yeah, these are two components of the marketing grant that we got. And then I also have some exciting news that through your marketing department, we'll be sitting on the TPN marketing committee.
Congratulations.
Raise yourself.
I love when you see people, you know, you get so excited. I know that, don't I? I had the best time.
So this is a long video and it will be chopped up and it's rolling out to actually all across to our Buffalo target markets, our Toronto target markets. It's really geared towards the tourism. I wish I could show you the brochure in real life, but it's just got the asset and it's gonna be going to print. So I can only show you the proof right now, but feel free to stop by later this week to see I'm sure we'll bring you in as well. But this is gonna be the brochure that gets distributed to businesses and to our tourism partners as well.
That would not.
Yeah, so it's hard to tell because it's a print. But this right here is the back of it, and this is the front, so it opens up like a door. It's really cool. And then the top here is just the insert of it. So we can send you a copy of the print, but we should have them in the office in a couple days too, so you can have a physical copy.
Wow, that looks great.
And those, I'm guessing, will go out to like the church, the on-ramp, off-ramp, whatever they're called, that kind of thing.
Yeah, hotels.
And where does the QR code lead to?
That's what,
Okay.
So there's a landing page,
So essentially we'll be able to update it so that people can get the most frequent information about the downtown.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Not sure if it's quite letting it. So this is the landing page that it will goes to.
Giant Shoe built that for us on our existing website.
Yeah, and so we can customize those and update it, and we're also like running a contest to engage with people who are looking at the brochure or participating in tourism effects to give out gift cards throughout the year. We can control the contest through the landing page as well. So it's mydowntown.ca/visits if you want to check it out yourself. If you're not, I guess I'd say, you know, hit up marketing, but you guys probably aren't the target market since you're already down.
And I know we briefly talked about this last meeting as well, but I just think it's really cool. We'll have access to, what is that analytics thing called?
Oh, Environics. So we actually have Environics right now. We have it for the next year. And something, I can't remember if we talked about it last month or not, but one of the really neat things about the data that we have is we have access to all of our visiting traffic, but not just us. We can see all of the BIAs across Ontario. So
and
we're,
historical as well, right?
yeah, so we're able to get a lot of.
Comparison data?
Yes. And we'll be able to like track this campaign very down to the, like the T. So we'll know what kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Tourism draw this actually brings us by like seeing foot traffic in our downtown and where they're from, because it pings their phone. So if they come from Buffalo, we'll know that. Super
You
cool.
can even tell if they came back, and how long they came back, how long they stayed.
Creepy and wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. We'll keep kind of wonderful and not think about all the other locations right now.
Fantastic. Wow, I noticed they really liked red. Let's send them some. Well, any other questions? All right, keep on moving on. Do you want to say, or a gift card update at all, or?
Right, so that's part of the speed, right? No, kidding.
Or I'm not. Yeah, we have a new gift card specific email that is going out to people who are participating on the gift card program. So we've been getting some feedback, we can kind of see through the back end that there's certain administration and clerical errors. So we saw it as an opportunity just to build like a platform and more of a communication strategy to stay in touch with people who are on the gift card. And that rolled out last week. It's gonna be a monthly email, and we also started creating like a report, so you can see how much money is getting not only bought through a gift card, but we have a data or a specific stat, sorry, that tells you how much money is spent in the downtown above and beyond the gift card. So after people spend the gift card, that's what you're spending.
That's
That's good.
And if I may just tag along, in your package that you received, there was a gift card information. So there's some really interesting stats in there. You'll see how many businesses are on. You'll also see on the first page as well, the gift card redemption rates. So we sold, or sorry, the amount spent. So on the gift card specifically, just over $1,000 was spent in businesses over and above the gift card value, and over 8,000 was spent directly off the gift cards. Full disclosure, that 1,000, just over 1,000, does not capture it all. It only captures certain POS systems that will give us that data. So we're getting a fraction of the overspend.
So that's 13% overspend, but could be well.
Yeah, 70-80%, yeah.
That's awesome.
And you'll see on the second page, the gift card sales by month as well.
Oh.
December obviously is by far our biggest, most popular month. Everybody wants them as gifts for holidays. It's a fantastic gift. We saw that again last year. High demand for sure. We've also built a number of really successful partnerships with different groups, from the region to the city to Meridian Center, where they'll come and buy gift cards to do as giveaways. It's been really successful too. So
Can we do more promotion of that to like larger organizations and say, you know, this is a great option?
yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I just want to add to Rachel's awesome leadership of the gift card program that it is one thing that we struggle with getting more people onto the downtown. So if you guys are visiting other stores, know everyone here is like set up with a gift card already, but if you feel like your neighbors know, or there's any way you can help us reach more people, this is that in-person piece that really helps get their businesses on board, and we're not always able to get it across.
Wow,
About a year ago, but I guess that's
that's wonderful. Thank you guys so much for that work. That's pretty amazing. Awesome. Do we have an update on financials, Rachel?
I don't, unfortunately. We did just get reports finally for December, but we're full audit mode. Well, to be honest, we're not really full audit mode. I've done most of the prep, but we're waiting. The audit's going to be happening next month. So as soon as the audit is done, then things will roll again. It's just we're pending that audit before closing everything off, so to speak. So it's a bit in limbo right now.
Wonderful. And then we're over to Jen. We're street sustainability.
I have forgotten everything we discussed at the last
It's
meeting.
so good. No, it was a really good report.
Oh,
so
okay.
You're good.
I'm so sorry, everyone.
No,
Okay.
that's-
So I can just share a little quick summary. So
Sure.
he's been pretty busy out on the streets, but he's also been busy in the office. He's submitted a grant application to get funding to do another pollinator garden at the corner of King and Carlisle. So our fingers are crossed on that one. The first one was, as you know, a huge success that he's done at St. Paul Street. He has a lot of things that he's working on, chasing Val and the utility boxes to get fixed, which is an ongoing battle. Same with Canada Post. He's been working on the string lights as they had some glitches and needed to be fixed. He's also filed 35 citizen first reports since the beginning of 2025. Most are streetlights, graffiti, that kind of stuff. So he's been working through those. The other one is 70 James. It's been a bit of a headache in terms of lots of challenges with being broken into and garbage and graffiti. So that one's been almost daily pull in just to get that location rectified. The city is working on it. Fire were actually involved because it was a huge fire risk with everybody breaking in and camping there and setting fires up. So now the city has taken over and bylaw is taking charge of the property. Just because unfortunately the property owner is not local and it took them a little while to board up and it wasn't safe in the meantime. So the city is taking that on.
Yeah, sure.
This is the former Fulton's.
No, sorry. It is the corner of Jake. Yeah. And then there's just a couple of other properties that have had some challenges, typically that are vacant, that see graffiti and so forth that have been being called in. So, yeah.
Just a quick question for Robin, actually. How well are the fines on absentee landlords open? Are they just hard to enforce?
So most of the absentee landlords, they just accrue the debt. They're not, I would like them to be higher, frankly.
So they're not actually posing up.
They're not, I mean, for some it works,
Absolutely.
for some it works, for some it doesn't. But we're working on a few things behind the scenes with regards to vacant property or, absentee landlords, but also problem locations.
All I hear are the small guys that tear down their buildings.
We're working on that too. We got something going on there too.
Rachel, and this is the contract that was just for like 10-hour maintenance, right? And so it's fair to say that it was going above and beyond
Oh, yeah.
those extensions.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
He's amazing.
20 hours a week, that he does with us for sure, but yeah, no, he lives and works downtown, so he's eyes on the street no matter if he's working or not, and is very attentive.
But even like to be applying for grants
And that was all on him, like he was very much, I have this dream, and I'm like, sweet,
What's Noah's last name? Medic?
metal, yeah. Yeah, he works with positive living as well, so he's very interconnected with the community and.
Great skill set.
Yeah.
Any other questions before we move on? All you, Rachel, advocacy update.
Yeah, so advocacy, we have a second floor residential survey that is out, really, let's just be honest, it's more of a vacancy survey. We are trying to collect data on what is being used downtown versus what is not being used downtown to see how we can support property owners to ensure properties are fully utilized, because that's to the benefit of the whole downtown. So if you have the ability to do that survey, we're looking for every property owner or every tenant even to complete that survey on their building, just so that we've got the full number, so we can go to the city and say, hey, this percentage vacancy exists. This percentage residential vacancy exists. This percentage commercial vacancy exists. With those numbers, it helps us not only go and advocate more, but it also helps us show improvements or changes or fluctuations to see, hey, if we came up with this incentive, would that benefit or not, and what that impact would be. So really are trying to get those forms completed. We have a really good committee, actually. Tammy Katay from the city sits on that committee with us, which is fantastic. We have a number of real estate professionals and developers as well as not-for-profit organizations. In fact, one of the local people has asked to come to the office and literally sit and use their access to that database through real estate to fill in our property information for it, which is fantastic. So, and that will take quite a few hours of their time, and they're willing to do that for us, which is wonderful. So really dedicated group and really.
So is there a view to take that data and then kind of use this as kind of maybe a task force to look at some of the regulation issues that David comes up with, to be able to streamline that, to be able to get these properties utilized?
Yes, yeah, and I think our first step from that committee actually will also be doing a bit of an educational kind of session to say, you have this vacant building or part of it vacant. You don't know what to do with it. Come and find out, come and learn what you could be making. Because right now you're not making anything on that space.
Right.
And really help incentivize and connect and build those relationships.
Yeah, and to really focus on some of the hurdles that we hear for developers. Yeah, let's go, Jen.
Is there any plan for, or does the city have any plan for the people who don't want any buildings filled?
You mean like the vacant buildings and the absentee landlords?
Yes.
That would again then be working with the city to figure
Okay.
that out. And that will show a little bit. I mean, to be honest with you, we've those are the ones we're not going to hear back from, right? Because they're the ones that we typically don't have contact information for. We can't go in a business because it's typically not one in there. So they're the hardest to get the information from. Full disclosure, will be focusing on the low hanging fruit first. 'Cause
So
that
it's
will be
essentially the
easiest.
largest violators, we won't, there's no full plan for yet.
Not immediately. What we'll first do is, like I said, get that low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
And there is some pretty easy ones to pick off, so to speak. And then working with the city to develop what policies do we need in place to help motivate or use a stick, not a carrot, you know, those property owners to do something with their property.
That's super. Wonderful.
And then, sorry, just a
Yeah,
couple
yeah.
of the.
Oh, and then David, do you want to jump in there first?
Are we reporting in this process, are we reporting to the city vacant buildings?
We do, yes. So I have regular meetings with Paul from bylaw to say, here's my list of vacant buildings. What's your list of vacant buildings? To make sure that they are tracked. There is sometimes gaps because bylaw doesn't have enough staff to actively go out and keep up to date with that. And so it is a good practice for us to constantly keep in communication, to say this is what's on our list kind of thing.
I don't want us to be a tattletale, because as you know, there's a vacant building policy now, registered. And it's very onerous, there's a cost involved. And I don't think it's up to us. He's saying to the city, it's the city's responsibility, not ours, to say these are vacant. Vacant in terms of we want them occupied, yes.
Yes.
But then it's an obligation. Now we're going after the property owner. And I don't think that that's our role. Our role is to encourage occupancy of these, but I don't think our role is to handle the city. So there's financial burden now is placed on these properties.
Absolutely. I think though the challenge is that we have some vacant properties that are hindering the development of the downtown. That I'm sure we can all think of a few. There's one very close to you. That I feel the vacant registry is a tool that can be used to help motivate improvements to happen to certain buildings so that our downtown improves. Because if we don't, then it will just sit there and nothing will happen, right? And that doesn't help anyone.
Individual. Small property.
First of all, the building has to be vacant for a set period of time. It's not that it's vacant for a month or two. We're looking at buildings that are vacant for 6 months, a year, 2 years. That's why we're writing here. And I would say, you know, I get that there are always reasons why I don't might be vacant, but it is one of our only tools in the city and within municipal activity planning to actually address the issue. Because it's not there, I mean, yes, we're hoping, but we have vacant buildings
across the city, and so we can't start saying, well, we're gonna make exceptions for downtown rather than, you know, another situation, and it has been effective in some cases, and I understand there's cost, but it's quite minimal compared to a lot of the situations that are happening.
Well, there's the
Around.
delinquency, it's definitely, covered by building standards when there's usually vacant buildings.
It's not though.
Some good vacant buildings, they're not in contravention of building standards.
Yeah, there are some.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna move
And
on.
frankly, it's an incentive, and frankly, when it comes to the people who are around there, so people who live downtown or businesses that are next door. You know what? It's about them as well. You don't want to be a business that's got. Like you know, you don't want to have a vacant building that's sitting there for a year with nobody in it. When your business is beside it, because it's likely to, you know, have more garbage, to have more issues, having sidewalks, so. And it's a small fee, it only becomes onerous when you don't actually follow the regulations, and the regulations are quite minimal. When it comes to keeping in good standard.
They're minimal enough that we still have a lot of vacant buildings.
Yeah.
Let's go over to Stephen and then Jen.
So this committee is not focused on the bylaw. The city's got a bylaw, they're implementing the bylaw, they're doing it as they can. This committee is focused on encouraging those owners to redevelop their buildings.
Correct.
To fill their buildings. That's their focus. It's not enforcement. It's first understanding what's vacant, understanding why it's vacant, understanding, helping them understand what the opportunities are to develop their buildings. That is the focus of the committee.
Yes, well
It's
said.
totally a positive encouragement of redevelopment of the upper floors of the buildings downtown.
We are the carrot, Robin's the stick.
Exactly.
Over to Jen.
So's Mark. Mark's a stick too.
Also too, just to kind of say on camera, it was some time ago that we had a streetscape and sustainability meeting, and one of the attendees, if I'm not mistaken, it was Peter, who does garbage for the city, or sorry, for the region. It's not just commercial buildings that create so much disparity with respect to other property owners. It's also residential. And for instance, just one property he was speaking about in that meeting was getting calls and had staff going there up to 3 times per week. And when the city is so short in resources, and especially staff, and is really trying to cut back the budgets, when we have vacant buildings that are becoming, I don't even mean like, 6-month-old buildings. I mean, buildings that are derelict almost at this point, where the amount of graffiti and garbage and fires that start and whatnot in these areas is exponential with respect to like buildings that are actually inhabited. So it is an extreme cost to the city. I'm, being led to believe through other meetings that I feel it's really important to not only have the registry, but I mean, they should enforce it even more. Like buildings that have been, vacant for more than 5 years should have a completely different fine.
All right, so I think we, yeah. so
But it's
that's just a good
it's
thumbs up.
extremely costly to the city
Absolutely.
and region.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much for that update, Rachel. And now we're on to the next thing and your update.
Sounds good.
It's all you.
It is,
Go ahead.
I did forget to mention that we did do a tariff survey as well as part of advocacy.
Excellent.
We had a number of submissions from there. I did copy it over OPS to use it as well. They really liked it. So that is going out now province-wide to small business owners. So that will give us some good data and numbers to use for advocacy, which is really helpful. So if you have not completed that tariff survey, please click the link in the agenda and do so. That would be really helpful, and feel free to encourage others as well. As everybody knows, we do have an election coming up, some more than others. So we've been emailing the candidates with a bunch of questions to basically say, here's some of our priorities or concerns. Those are included at the bottom of the executive director report that you can read it through. Unfortunately, we did not receive responses from everyone. But yeah, you did. We received a couple, so that is better than none. So we will be sharing that with our members so that they can help them make an informed decision. I think it's unfortunate that we didn't receive as many responses as I had hoped, which is quite telling to me, but yeah, that's about it for me.
Any questions for Rachel? Any word on that recycling challenge that looks like it's coming up?
No. So the changes won't take effect till January 2026.
Did everybody catch that recycling thing coming up? Oh, scared the snot out of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are worried.
Don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
And it could go either way. So it basically currently the way it stands right now is that January 2026. The region will need to take, well, the region does take full responsibility for recycling, but they won't have access to the same trucks to remove the recycling as they currently do, because the commercial recycling pickup will be removed. So they will have to hire their own trucks and their own contracts to remove recycling from commercial areas if they choose to do so. And it will be a much, much higher cost and a lot of confusion. So we're really hoping that the government changes its tune. It was included in one of the questions.
Sure.
So yeah, we'll see.
Thank you. Any other questions for Rachel? Oh yeah, go ahead. Joe.
Why not continue with the same program for recycling downtown?
So the change, the current change is that the provincial government is putting the recycling and the cost of recycling on the producers of the recycling. So because of that, Circular Materials, who's the organization that is creating that contract, has decided that commercial areas will be excluded from recycling pickup. Currently, they're included. So that will be the flip.
If I can make a comment, I think in a very expeditious manner, we have to be on this. However, make representation. There are a number of people that I've talked to, commercial recyclers. All that's gonna happen is it's gonna end up in the garbage if they can't do it, and that's a bigger problem. And when you take the amount of recycling from, commercial and put it into the normal garbage, it's a problem. So we have to be very, very aware and
You're gonna change your vote on Thursday?
maybe.
Fantastic. I wonder if I could have a motion to accept the reports as presented. Thank you, Katie, second. Thank you, Jen. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Contrary-minded? No, hearing none. They are passed on to new and other business. Heritage report.
Again, I don't have anything as of right now.
It's not here yet, is it?
Not here yet.
So we can't yell about it yet.
Right now.
There's no yelling. We can yell in anticipation, but not. All right. Is there any other new business from the floor? Yeah, let's go with David and then Joe, or Joe and then David.
You're supposed to go first.
Good. Just wondering about, we know our responsibility for snow and ice removal. How, did I take your question?
Yes, stole my thunder, but you go ahead.
When it happens on Family Day, when it happens on, Sunday, where does the responsibility lie? Is it, we've always handled it first morning of business. We're out there looking after things.
So I believe the way the bylaw is written is 24 hours from the end of the snowfall that you have to remove it. So depending on obviously when it stops snowing, and I think there's some flexibility, a fair bit of flexibility given in that. So if it's a holiday, I mean, if you go on, say, the Friday, and that's when your business closes, and it's Saturday, Sunday, and Monday is a holiday, and you don't clear till Tuesday, then there's probably an issue. But if, say, you close on the Sunday and it's one day you miss it, you're probably not gonna get ticketed.
Yeah.
Through you, Madam Chairman, to our counselor.
You mean Mark?
It's obvious to a lot of us that the snow clearing is an issue. We have contracts, we have people that do our parking lots and sidewalks. The city does not seem to be enforcing the regulations that they have. The city also, in my travels around, the city is clearing where their list came from on who they do sidewalks for and who they don't. It's supposed to be municipal properties, but half of them are private properties. Your list is, in my opinion, in such disarray that it needs to be revisited. And I'm still of the belief that while downtown municipal properties have the little machine that comes around, we asked a few years ago and we were told the cost is too expensive for the city to take the main areas downtown. And that should be done. I can't understand on my street, they come up William Street and it's private and then they put it down. But the machine's coming up and they put it down for 25 feet and raise it again. I would like to see a program implemented where it is a city responsibility that main sidewalks in the downtown area are cleared by the city.
Okay. Take that back.
Yep.
Report next month, if we're still here.
I can just quickly touch base. We should probably wrap up this development, okay? So I have brought this up with both the interim manager of municipal works and other different departments too. So there's a couple of challenges with the city doing it. The first one is liability. The second one is some of our sidewalks are very narrow and have a lot of infrastructure on them, and some have cobblestones where the trucks actually damage the sidewalks that they use. So they're hesitant to do as much there. So those are the two main pieces. The other really big one is roads take priority for the city. So if we now ask the city to take care of our sidewalks, it's gonna take them probably another day to get to them. Whereas if business owners can do them when they come in first thing, it should in theory be done quicker than the city. It's just our challenge right now is we have unfortunately some who aren't doing that.
So just will say, with our active transportation master plan that has been approved, sidewalks and bike lanes would be part of a priority snow removal aspect to ensure that you can safely walk, you can safely bike as well as car. So as part of that approved transportation master plan, it does come with a purchase of equipment. So there will be a change over the next couple of years as we purchase some new equipment that will allow us to do bike lanes. It can also be used for sidewalks. And I'll just say that there is a lot of confusion right now when it comes to who does what sidewalks and where. So I think it's worth asking. I'm happy to ask for a report. I'm sure Mark will second it. On how we, see how I did that? Just like that? How we clear our sidewalks and kind of, is there an explanation for the priority and how we do it? Because it doesn't make sense when.
You know,
Wait, I know exactly, yeah.
So in a week's time, nobody will worry about this.
Welcome to our guest, Mark.
So I actually had this question because when Daryl was there, he gave me a picture of the map and it's really strange of what city sidewalks are and not. Like down Niagara Street in my ward, and there is, and then there isn't, and then there is like a little bit. And it's like, it's really weird. So we probably ought to get that updated.
This joint.
Just so that's good where it's at.
I mean, really though, at the end of the day, especially like the other week being a perfect example where the snow is falling so quickly, there's absolutely no way that the city is gonna have enough staff to clear the sidewalks that quickly. I mean, even the other day when we were shoveling.
Okay, we do have to wrap this up.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, people are still going to have to be responsible for their storefront. Because in an hour it could be full of snow again, and salting is part of that too.
So can I have a motion to adjourn? Thank you, David. Let's go. Excellent. And